I have been thinking about this energy space for quite a few years, and I actually wore something to remind me of it today. This is my dad's 50 European from the IBW. So he passed away last year. And the thing about it was, at the end of his life, he saw that this space in energy was changing at a rate that we had not seen since it really started, since electrification became a thing. Since Tesla and Edison were arguing over whether we should be using AC or DC. So we're in the middle of that right now. And I think it's a really big thing to wrap your head around, right? And it can be daunting because it's such a big thing. But a friend of mine said to me one time, he said, never let the fact that you can't do everything keep you from doing something. So when we organized this summit, we wanted to focus on the something. Oftentimes the first step is the hardest step of the journey. There are a lot of leaders in this room who've made a lot of steps already. But today in this press conference, we want them to tell you about the next step that they're taking, because a lot of projects are going to be coming out of this summit and out of the work that's been done at the legislature and the city and the county and the tribal levels in the last few years. So I'm very excited to introduce our first speaker to make an announcement and talk about their next steps, and that's Albuquerque's Mayor, Tim Keller. Welcome, Mayor.
Okay, well, good afternoon. I know a lot of folks I was able to see and speak with yesterday, and so I'm excited to be back. And I hope it's been a wonderful day, 2 days of learning and of building bridges and of thinking about our future together. Let me begin with a couple of things. I want to first and foremost, of course, just thank our Senator Martin Heinrich for bringing us all together and for his leadership on this issue. Let's not forget, he's a former Albuquerque City Councilor. And I also, too, just want to mention, I think we have our Navajo President Nez, if he hasn't been acknowledged yet, too. President, thank you for being here. Good to see you. I know I'm going to see you later in the week, too. So yesterday, folks heard, I think, a lot about the city's perspective with respect to climate change, sustainability, renewable energy. And so today, we're going to keep things much shorter and really just share with you the latest in the city's initiatives to deal with all things climate change. But let me offer a little bit of a preface. I think it's important to remind folks that, you know, climate change, as we spoke about yesterday, is obviously a global issue. But it's something that we feel here, right here at home, even in New Mexico. And we feel it both on a personal way and also, of course, as we look around and as we exist in this beautiful place. We see it whether it's the lack of snowpack, which then leads to fishing that isn't as good, or it leads to the fact that our ski area is closed, or much, much more serious things, like the fact that our city is now experiencing ozone challenges for the first time in decades. We are now having to issue air quality warnings to tell children that if they have asthma, they should not go to their soccer game. This is now what our environmental health department is having to do because of the effects of climate change. So you can see while some of these are seemingly recreational, some of them are very, very serious. Now, we also know that we even see this in amazing ways like the asylum seekers, as I mentioned yesterday, who roughly half of them are fleeing crop failures and economic failures associated with those agricultural challenges because of climate changes in Latin America. And so now when we have these challenges trying to help folks as they pass through our town, in many ways, for a lot of them, it is because of climate change, global warming, the associated challenges we're talking about today. So this hits us in all sorts of different ways. And I believe it's incumbent upon all of our leaders, but especially when you're the mayor, you kind of have to only solve problems because there's no one else to point to fix them. So we're trying to do what we can, and we're grateful to have partners at the state and at the federal level to deal with this. But we are here today to announce the next step in the actions we're taking right here at home to try and do what we can to address these issues. And so for us, we are announcing today that we have received a $2.7 million federal grant. So first and foremost, thank you to our federal delegation, especially our senator, for these funds. And these funds are going to be the first funds that are going towards the electrification of our bus fleet. Something long overdue. Thank you. And so with this funding, we are going to be able to start transitioning as we age out of our buses. We're going to be able to transition to electric buses. And, I would be remiss not to mention our art project. I want to let folks know that, the battery technology challenges remain for a 60-foot articulated bus. We'll get there. I really believe that within 5 years, we're going to be able to start phasing those into electric. This project, we're going to start with all the other buses, right, which is the vast majority of our fleet. These are the 40-foot buses, the workhorses of our city that carry thousands of Briqueños each and every day. Those we're going to start making electric as soon as this grant takes into effect next year. The RFP is going out shortly, and so we hope in the next, let's say, year, 18 months, 2 years, we're going to start seeing those electric buses out on our street. So with that, again, I want to say thank you to our federal delegation, to the City of Albuquerque team for putting the grant proposal together, and close by just reminding folks that this is part of an approach, comprehensive approach in our city. It started with the establishment of our sustainability office. It was recognized by Bloomberg as being one of the top 10 climate change cities in America. It has to do with our lights all being converted to LED. It has to do with us getting to 100% renewable, starting with half of that just in the next few years, thanks to our partnership with P&M and the Jicarilla Nation. And it also has to do with the electrification of all of our fleets. So stay tuned for more when you think about trash trucks, when you think about all those city vehicles. We are working on those next, and we'll have some more announcements on that in the fall. So with that, what I want to do is introduce our next speaker, who's not quite here. So we're going to turn it back to our MC, Senator Martin Heinrich.
I gave him poor direction. The governor is not quite here yet, so we're going to hear from another one of our state's great leaders who has an announcement as well and who's been just a pleasure to work with. Please welcome Navajo President Jonathan Nez.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jonathan Nez, President of the Navajo Nation. I want to also introduce our Vice President, Mr. Myron Leiser in the back, if you can give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. And, what a great summit that this has been for the past couple of days. Thank you, Senator Heinrich. Let's give him another round of applause, Senator. Thank you so much. Bringing all of our energy experts and community-based organizations and stakeholders together to look at ways to bring community involvement and to address climate change within the state of New Mexico. I just want to announce a project that we're doing on the Navajo Nation, on the New Mexico side, of course. And it's all began with a signing of a proclamation. Vice President Myron Leiser and myself signed a proclamation called the Hayolkal Proclamation, Sunrise Proclamation. And as many of you know, the Navajo generating station on the Arizona side, Navajo Nation, is ready to close. We're in the decommissioning stages now, and the discussions are ongoing. And with that closure of the generating station, the Peabody mine up on the Black Mesa will also close. So what's the next steps to diversify our economy? Because a lot of those dollars were coming in, royalty dollars were coming in from these two companies. And we had to do something. And we have, I pride ourselves, Navajo Nation, being the leader within Indian country on clean energy. As many of you know, we have a project there in Kayenta, Arizona, with our own Navajo Tribal Utility Authority, Phase 1 and Phase 2 large-scale solar energy farm there. And so New Mexico, right? New Mexico. And, you know, the governor, we were meeting with the governor early on today in Santa Fe, and we wanted to show our appreciation to her by saying thank you. There is an allocation from the state of New Mexico for $2 million for a renewable energy project on the Navajo Nation. So today, I want to announce the Paragon Bitsy Ranch Solar Development Project, $2 million to plan and design this solar farm. And that would be a great move within the state of New Mexico. And well, I want to say thank you to P&M as well, and the folks that have been helping make this solar farm a reality. And I have our division, Navajo Division of Natural Resources staff here. If you all can stand, I think, Michelle, are you the only one that's here today? Can you help me give her a round of applause, you know? And with the Energy Transition Act that many of us were a part of, I'm hoping all of us were a part of, making that move by 2045, right, for the state of New Mexico to have renewable energy being provided from various solar projects or wind projects throughout the state of New Mexico, and going emission-free in the future. So Navajo Nation is supportive, and we are wanting to lead the many Indian nations throughout the country in providing a greener economy for our Navajo Nation. So with that said, thank you so much for the work that each and every one of you do. And I know that in partnership, we can achieve a lot. Working together, we can save our environment, and we can also make our lands greener than it was before, you know, in terms of renewable energy. So thank you so much, everyone. Give yourselves a big round of applause for being here at the this summit as well. So thank you so much. God bless you.
I want to say a special thank you to President Nez, in addition to all the good work on energy, for his leadership on Chaco Canyon as well. It is my pleasure now to introduce our governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham, who is, I understand, has a few words that she wants to share with you, and maybe hopefully an announcement of her own. Come on up, Governor.
You can't go wrong when you've got a wonderful, hardworking fellow run ahead of you and put up your stool. I want to thank the senator, particularly, for putting this summit together. I will tell you that these efforts, with the kinds of ideas that are generated by every single person in the room, collectively will make sure that New Mexico continues, quite frankly, to lead the country in innovation and moving towards renewable energy, a carbon-free environment, and shows not just the country but the rest of the world what can be done when you put a bunch of energy into a room with good ideas and practical solutions for moving us all forward. So I want to thank the senator and his team, but most importantly, I want to thank each and every one of you. I also want to thank you for participating in the ways that you did this legislative session, which I'm still, believe it or not, still feeling incredible energy about the session. And I know that you all are aware that not just the country, but the world is talking about the ETA, the Energy Transition Act. And I want to talk a little bit about that, and I know that you know all about it, right? There's not a single person in the room, but it does bear worth, right? It bears repeating because it's so good, right? That we're going to get 50% by 2030, 80% by 2040, carbon-free by 2045. PNM says, to hell with that, we'll be carbon-free by 2040. Rural electric co-ops, everybody in the room moving forward, right? Your state government with your support, right? We're greening our buildings, we're doing electric cars, we're figuring out a regional charging station innovation. We have a climate change task force. We've joined the U.S. Climate Alliance. We're gonna meet or even exceed Paris Climate Accord standards and requirements. We're trying to do everything at once, and every single person in the room and every single policymaker is gonna be making announcements about the work that we are doing. And I also want to talk about some of our challenges. Now, the ETA saves New Mexico ratepayers $22 million. I'm going to say that one more time. The ETA saves New Mexico utility ratepayers $22 million. Now, as an elected person, and thank you very much, and for all the other elected individuals, both participating today and statewide, these are incredible jobs to have, and they're hard jobs, and they should be. They absolutely should be. But I expect all of our elected leaders to be very clear about who they serve. They serve you. And when we have elected leaders that fail to use that one fact that I just gave you, that we're going to save ratepayers $22 million, and we're going to protect workers who lose their jobs in the fossil fuel industry, right? That we're going to protect them, we're going to provide $40 million, then something's not quite right about a system we've created to both regulate the industry and to protect New Mexicans and to help transition us into a clean energy economy. So today, I'm announcing that we should do something about that. Your governor should do something about that. So she is. All right? We're going to put PRC, the Public Regulatory Commission reform, on the governor's call. And quite simply, what that means is we're going to figure out a way to make sure that the decisions that protect New Mexico ratepayers, the decisions that move us to a clean energy economy, the decisions that protect fossil fuel workers, that we don't have to wait until we debate this out or a constitutional amendment, which could take as long as 2023, when all of the tax incentives, all the transmission efforts, everything that we're trying to do collectively minimize our opportunities to move forward. In fact, I would guess that many of the ideas that you had over the last day and a half would get minimized if we can't have, right, the kind of support that we all deserve by all of our elected leaders. So we're going to take some of your ideas about what needs to happen first and second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. We're going to put that into a regulatory structure for reform, and it will be on our call, and I have every expectation that we do it. I know I only get 3 minutes, and so the senator's going to just pick me up and move me off the stage. But before he does that, I just want to read everybody something. So everybody knows what Moody's is, right? So this is, all right, okay. Well, they put out a statement today. And you know what, Victor, I don't have my glasses, so let's see if I can do it my own self. It's doubtful. But we're going to try. I do. All right, this is what happens when you're 60. All right. Oh, God, I love you. Thank you. How do I look? Okay, all right. No one cares about that, not even me. All right, so this is what Moody's said about New Mexico and about the ETA and about PNM. So this is really a report for PNM, okay? It says credit strengths. New Mexico's ETA provides the construct for PNM to transition its generation portfolio toward clean energy and recovery of coal rate base through securitization. Credit strength, historically stable and consistent credit metrics. Okay. Credit strengths, strong, renewable generation opportunity. Those are all good. All right. Here are the challenges. Challenging regulatory environment in New Mexico, compared to most other jurisdictions. Regulatory disallowance of invested capital from 2015 general rate case pressures, and another, funding elevated, and I'm not going to read it because it's all in accounting ease, but basically that the regulatory structure does not allow them to talk about how they're capturing credit and reapplying it to their customers. All right, so when an independent financial group says that New Mexico is doing everything right and it's protecting its ratepayers, that's what we should be looking at first. And in doing so, it prevents us from having a clean energy economy and protecting New Mexicans and our children and our grandchildren, then something is terribly wrong with the system we currently have. And you should expect that the rest of your leaders will do something about that. And I want to end with this. Because of your incredible work and because of the leadership of our delegation, because of the leadership of Senator Heinrich, this transition also harnesses methane in a way that's going to be better than any other state, reduces our greenhouse gases. It doesn't destroy oil and gas industry, but it makes them accountable. And it makes them accountable at the same time we completely, it's no longer pivoting. We are completely transitioning to a holistic, clean energy economy. And I thank you for that opportunity. And congratulations to you for an incredible summit. Thanks.
All right. Don't we have a great governor? I want to ask Town Councilor from Silver City, Guadalupe CANO, to come up, Harry Francis Brown, County Commissioner from Grant County, and Carrie Walker, who is the Chair of the Los Alamos County Board of Public Utilities. You know, as Mayor Keller mentioned, I sort of cut my policy teeth on, come on up everybody, on the Albuquerque City Council. And what I can tell you about these local leaders is that they are always working. When you are on the city council or the county commission or work in your local utility and you go to the grocery store, you're not just shopping, you're like basically having a focus group the whole time. When I was on the city council, my wife wouldn't let me go to the grocery store after about 6 o'clock because she knew I wouldn't come home until after 9. So I want you to welcome all these folks. They do the work where the rubber really hits the road, and you're going to get to hear from them here at the end of our summit about the things they're working on in their backyards.
Thank you, Senator. The town of Silver City has been a leader in clean energy and in sustainability, and the reason we are is because we partner often with other organizations to get things done. Right now, I would like to announce that we are partnering with the Public Library Foundation, which is a private foundation in Silver City. They will be funding the installation of a solar electric power system on our town's public library. The installation of LED lights, thermostat sensors, replacement of windows, a roof reinforcement system, and the installation of solar panels will allow us to make considerable improvements to our library and to make it more energy efficient and to also save the town a considerable amount of money. This is an important project to us because if it is successful, and it should be, then we will begin to retrofit the rest of our public buildings. And in Silver City, we have a lot of historic buildings, so it's going to be quite a project, and I think it's going to serve as a model for other communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Cano. Harry Brown, Grant County Commission. And thank you, Senator Heinrich, for this conference. It's been very helpful to me in helping Grant County move forward to address climate change. The Trump administration's backwards movement on combating climate change underscores the need for local and state governments to take bold steps, such as you've been hearing here. Grant County is proud to join other local governments, including Mayor Keller's Albuquerque, in reducing our carbon footprint by entering a solar power purchase agreement with PNM. We've committed to replacing nearly 70% of the electricity Grant County government uses with solar power through this power purchase agreement with PNM. Some of us, and now I'm speaking for myself, not for the commission as a whole, feel that it's very important not to depend on PNM, however. We really applaud their turnaround, their new attitude towards renewable energies. It's great to see. I'm going to look to push Grant County to reach 100% renewable following the mayor's lead. And I'm inspired by this conference to do so, partly taking advantage of the PACE program and also by using solarization efforts to make solar power more affordable for Grant County citizens. About 50% of our citizens can't afford to put solar panels on their roof, even if they do own their homes. We have a lot of property-rich but income-poor folks. The PACE program can help bridge that gap in financing by linking solar power improvements made to private homes to property tax assessments, and thereby allow people to finance them, reduce their utility bills, and pay in property taxes an amount smaller than what they've just saved on their utility bills. If we do this in combination with county efforts to put solar power on more of our buildings, I think the county can reach 100%, and I think we can bring down the cost of solar for everyone. So thank you again, Senator, for inspiring me to help Grant County move forward in this area.
Hi, I'm Carrie Walker with the Los Alamos County Board of Public Utilities. Los Alamos is a pretty unique community. While our county only has a population of 18,000, we are a municipal-owned public utility, and we are a power producer. Approximately 30% of the county's portfolio currently comes from renewable energy generation resources. That's 27 megawatts of generating capacity. It comes from the county-owned hydroelectric facilities at Alvado and ABQ, and also from a utility-scale solar array at our old decommissioned landfill. The remainder of the portfolio is coal-fired electric generation. Additionally, as a result of a decades-long power-sharing agreement between us and Los Alamos National Laboratory, we supply over 600 gigawatt hours of electricity per year using owned resources, contracts, and purchases. Feedback from the residents of Los Alamos County indicated that clean energy was important to our community. Almost 70% of our customers are willing to pay more on their electric bills for renewable energy. So accordingly, in 2013, the Board of Public Utilities, the governing authority, adopted a goal of being a carbon-neutral electricity provider by 2040, and to migrate away from all CO2-producing energy sources. We created a citizen committee, the Future Energy Resource Committee, to help frame the discussion and assess the county's carbon footprint and determine how to move forward to achieve our goals. And that year, the committee issued a report that made a number of recommendations for policies and near-term actions that we could take. The county utility has now developed an integrated resource plan to assist us in meeting this goal. By assessing the cost, risk, and other factors, the integrated resource plan recommended a large share of utility-scale solar plus storage, to meet our carbon neutral goal. So we're working to double the generating capacity at our landfill, the solar array there. We voted to exit our ownership in the San Juan Generating Station, and we're investigating strategies for exiting the coal-fire Laramie River Generating Station prior to 2040, when the agreement ends. We've implemented advanced metering infrastructure, or smart meters, to help support a 21st century infrastructure. And we commissioned a value of solar study to explore how to encourage and not discourage customer-generated solar projects while still managing the cost of power flow in and out of the grid. We've also found ways to support the replacement of petroleum fuel vehicles. We've pursued and obtained, with the assistance from our federal delegation, funds for the electrification of our bus fleet. We've installed public EV charging stations in multiple locations, and we're working towards adding more. The county is committed to partnering with other communities and utilities to achieve carbon neutral goals. For example, through its membership in the Utah Associated Municipal Power Systems, which pursues large-scale utility projects for small public utilities like ourselves. We continue to seek out new opportunities, and we're excited by all the new signs of growth and possibility for renewable energy in New Mexico. Finally, we just want to thank Senator Heinrich for hosting the summit. There you are. Thank you for hosting this summit. We're leaving today with a wealth of new resources and partnerships, I think, and with a renewed enthusiasm for pushing forward towards carbon neutrality. So, thank you.
So when you add up all the things you heard just in the last few minutes and all the things that are percolating out there that are going to hopefully come together over the next year or two, it really is a pretty big deal. Like, we are completely transitioning our energy grid right now, and all of you are a part of that. And I want to thank you for participating. I want to thank all the great leadership we've had here. I want to thank RMI for doing such a great job supporting this and facilitating this. They're an incredible resource, and I think you will find them to continue to be an incredible resource. And most of all, I want to thank my staff, who did so much to help pull this together, who partnered with RMI, and who will continue. I would hope that you would look to them to be a resource, whether it's grant work, whether it's regulatory work, whether it's just convening the right people to make these projects happen. Continue to reach out to my staff. We love working in partnership with local community leadership to make things change on the ground, and you all are the folks who can do that. So call on us, and thank you for being here.